It's crazy. It's so smooth. I don't know if I've reviewed anybody else on the channel so far that does it smoother than Dominic. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. Today, we're returning to check out Dominic Forest Lapointe. Previously of Beyond Creation, I did an analysis video of a First Fragment song called Gula a while back, where he was playing it and you guys were like, look, Dominic didn't write these bass parts. He's playing someone else's parts, despite how cool they were. You should go back to his older project, Beyond Creation, and check out parts that he actually wrote and performed. So that's what we're doing today. This is the track Omnipresent Perception. We're going to be checking out Dominic's playthrough. This track is from their 2011 release, The Aura. I'm excited to check it out. I know he's a masterful player with so much nuance in his playing. So I'm going to do my best to keep up. Let's check it out. Beyond Creation, Omnipresent Perception. I already missed the headstock. What bass is this? He has the most interesting technique, I swear. You can really see his plucking hand here. This is great. Woo! What? Sweeps? I didn't see that in the First Fragment video. This is crazy. We'll get into that in a second because I'm sure he'll do it again. I love the angle here where I can really see his plucking hand. His use of the floating thumb is really interesting to me. He kind of hovers over bow strings. Normally when you ascend and you're using the floating thumb, you're kind of bunny hopping the strings and pressing them there, but he's doing so much fluid ascension and descension across the strings. It's like his thumb just kind of hovers and he places it when he knows he's going to be in one place for a while. You can kind of see that back here. So he hovered for a bit, then he kind of placed it on that A string and went back down. We'll come back to that. The way he just can seamlessly go between all these techniques is something I remember from this First Fragment video. It's crazy. It's so smooth. I don't know if I've reviewed anybody else on the channel so far that does it smoother than Dominic. He's switching between these little triplet tapping fills, little just right back to finger style. I mean, you're covering a lot of ground here. And something else I'm noticing, he's using his fretting hand index finger. It really stays very stationary. It's almost like he's delegating all fingers equally to every passage. He's not relying on like the index and the ring to do these patterns. It's like he's using a lot of middle, ring, and pinky on the fretting hand. He's kind of letting his index finger hover, which is something I caught right here. You can kind of watch it as he goes up and down the neck. That index finger just kind of stays stationary. It doesn't really do anything. Kind of right there. It's interesting. Love the phrasing on those slides. Okay, time to address the sweeping. There's actually a video here on my channel, Introduction to Sweeping on Bass. It wasn't too long ago I posted, but if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of that, I'll put the link in the description. And it is my best method for learning how to do this technique. Sweep picking is commonly used on guitar to take the guitar pick and rake it up and down the strings to play a chord, but one note at a time. So instead of playing a chord like D major, for example, you would play one note at a time very fast, up and down. And on bass, he's kind of using the thumb as the guitar pick, and it takes an incredible amount of muting and control to get this right. And there's so much practice that goes into this. I would argue this is one of the hardest techniques to learn on bass, but essentially, he's kind of doing this kind of pattern here. That kind of thing there. You're kind of going up with the thumb. You're coming back down with another finger after you tap a note. It's very hard to get all of the notes clean because we don't have the luxury of using our palm to palm mute as we go up and down. That's what makes it, I'm not going to say easier on guitar, but a little easier to make all the notes just individually speak. The picking part is its own difficult technique to learn, but bass, you have this extra layer of muting that's very hard to do. So I'm going to go back and watch it. And again, check the link in the description if you want to get my breakdown on how to do this technique. Such light, effortless plucking, too, something I'm noticing. Great. Hold on, I want to see something there. Clever. Clever stuff. You notice he's kind of bringing his hand back to the plucking position, but he's using the underside of his hand to mute those unused strings that he just kind of tapped. At least that's what it looked like to me. Right here. Go back here. You'll see, and I'm sorry to stop this so much, but this is one of those guys that's just doing so much great technique. You'll notice that this side of his hand, the underside of his plucking hand, is kind of muting those unused strings. Very important when doing tapping of any sort. Very important when you're leaving your home base where you can mute with your thumb, you can mute with unused fingers. Whenever you bring your hand over here to do something, you must be conscious of what strings might be ringing out in the process of bringing them over. It's very important. It's very subtle stuff that makes a world of a difference to how your bass playing sounds with doing these techniques. You'll notice he brings it back and he keeps this part of his hand touching those unused strings. I'm gonna let it play for a bit. Breakdown. Woo. Some diminished guitar stuff. Really locking in with the drums. Smooth. That's interesting. I'll come back to this. Okay, he's doing this a bit. I thought it might repeat. Real quick, you'll notice that he's sometimes plucking over the neck pickup here, and then he'll go back to the bridge pickup. And then he'll pluck back over the neck pickup, and he'll go back over the bridge pickup. I don't know why he's doing this, but what I do know is that it changes the tone drastically. I've said it in a lot of videos. Just going that 6-inch closer to the bridge, 6 inches over here, give or take, 8 inches maybe, depending on your bass, it will change the tone drastically just by where you're plucking. That's because the string tension is different all across the fretboard and the body. The string tension is going to be highest near the nut, up here, and then highest down here by the bridge. The string tension is going to be lowest in the middle. So you'll notice as I pluck near the bridge, if I do that same thing over here, listen how different that tone is. And you can really shape the entire timbre of your bass line when you make those moves like that. And that's kind of what I think he's doing here. I'm going to go back and let it go for a bit. Get over the neck pickup here. So now he's switching back over here. Why is that? My guess is these lower notes need to be fuller. He's going a little, and he's going a little higher, so the notes need to be kind of tighter and more of a punctuated attack, I suppose. So that's my theory. This is mastery level stuff, though. fourths. Kind of a key change here. It's changing quickly. Kind of in like B flat. It's a very like beautiful lyrical bass part amidst how heavy the composition has changed under him. The double kick came in, a clear shift to a different section of the piece, and he's got these like really lyrical sliding in and out, you know, just fretless goodness. That's kind of a tongue twister, right? Just a little bit of double stops, chords. He's kind of sliding. It's giving this kind of this lyrical passage. And again, as I always say, that's my favorite part of this whole fretless bass and heavy music thing. You can contrast the very tight robotic of the guitars, the drums that are just very transient, peak attack focus, and you've got this like glue, which is the fretless bass. It's always such a cool texture. It's very epic sounding. Sounds like we're kind of still in that B flat, E flat. That's a great chord progression. 1, 7, 6, 7, 1. It just has a very epic, anthemic feel now. He's just the way he's placing that melody. Love this. Holy mess. Again, you can see it there. He's doing that upper string tapping. Look where his plucking hand palm is resting. It's on those unused strings. He's got it locked down here. You know, if you're up here tapping, you got to stop these strings from ringing out because they will. Again, if you start pressing on the fretboard or tapping it kind of hard, these low strings are the first to ring out. Your line will start to have that in the background. Back to that melody. Great. That's a cool chord there. Also notice real quick the way he's going those octaves. So still in that same E flat minor sort of thing. You'll notice that he's like leaving his pinky kind of stuck. And I think this might be a fretless intonation thing because again, when you play fretless bass, I do know, I don't own one anymore, but the positions, you have to make these micro adjustments to stay in tune because on a fretted bass, it's like bowling with bowling bumpers up in the bowling lanes. It's very easy to just stay in the lane. So I can do octaves all day. They're going to be in tune, but on fretless, you have to make these small adjustments, especially to match the octaves. You'll notice like the gap between his fingers on those octaves changes a little bit as he goes higher. Something I'm noticing here, kind of watch his pinky. It kind of starts to point inward like he's trying to get it a little closer for intonation purposes. Right there. can see it here too. See how his pinky kind of points back? It's like it closes the gap just a little bit right there. You can kind of see it. It's like he's making those small adjustments just to be perfectly intonated. This whole riff is super sick. I still didn't even catch what brand of bass this was. Something boutique, custom luthier maybe. Right on. Well, to be honest with you, I enjoyed this song a lot more than I did the First Fragment. I thought the First Fragment, at least the song I chose, Gula, just an onslaught flurry of technical passages where I couldn't really latch onto one riff. I like that style of music, very through composed, nothing really repeats. And that was, I think, an equally crazy good representation of his playing and ability. But I think this song, there was a recurring melody, the structure of the song kind of grabbed me a little more, and I can see that this might be more akin to his authentic writing style. And I was really glad to see it because there are a lot of differences between how he played bass in this song versus how he played bass in the Gula First Fragment. Now, again, as I said in the beginning of this video, he didn't write those lines, or at least that's what you guys told me. I hope you're right. I believe you. But this seems a more thoughtful, composed bass part. The melodies, he's inserting the fills, but it still kind of has that same Dominic flair with the seamless switching of techniques, the tapping, the independent bass lines away from a very regimented tech death kind of guitar part and drumming. So it's always fascinating to me, bass players who can stray away from that really strict mold of that kind of music and still have so much personality in the bass line. So this was a real treat to go back and check out. I feel like I'm getting to know him a bit more as a player. He has to be one of the best bass players in metal, brass tacks. That's what I think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video, comment what else I should do, what else you would like to see. Keep the requests coming. And please make sure you subscribe to the channel. This was really fun to watch and check out, and I look forward to doing more. Cheers. We'll see you next time.